Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. It's Friday, so I know how you're feeling. Or if you live in mid-Missouri where the storms went on all night last night and kept you awake, then you're probably feeling like us right now.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
No sleep.
No!
No sleep.
No!
No sleep till Jefferson City, where we're streaming this show from. Glad to have you here. If you're a regular and you like the content, make sure you don't forget to click that like button. And if you're not a regular, then you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content that you view today. We have a great show for you lined up. And of course, Family Friday means that the lovely Stephanie Peterson is here with us today. Hey, Steffi.
Good morning. Yes, I am definitely tired myself.
We're all feeling a little bit today. The electrical storms here in mid-Missouri have been going on every night for like almost a week now.
It's because of you.
Violent storms.
Did a rain dance not too long ago.
I'm sick and tired of the drought. So if you can't have drought, then we have to have floods. So
yeah, it's like Noah's Ark, seriously.
Yeah. And it's like you can't even get like a normal storm. It has to be like a blowout electrical storm for the ages every night.
Oh, it's so explosive. I mean, the booms are like literally at our window.
Yeah.
And the lightning it's like a laser light show outside.
And it's been like every night for like 4 nights that we've had this here. So I don't know what the weather's like where you're at, but you know, hopefully it's nicer than it is here. Justin Peterson here. Good morning, Justin. He says, Pee-wee, yes.
I know.
I know. What am I?
I found him in the closet and I said, a fitting little doll to have this week,
Yes,
especially
exactly.
because we're commemorating Pee-wee.
Pee-wee.
Yes.
Yes. Do you have any favorite Pee-wee memories? Was there anything about Pee-wee that you like?
I mean, I think I was born in the late 1980s, so I probably came in a little bit later, so I know him, but I don't
watch his
remember
show or
specific.
anything going. You don't remember? You didn't watch
No.
Pee-wee's Playhouse as a kid or anything like that?
I don't think so, but I know his look,
Yeah.
and I generally know who he is, and I know what he did when he exposed himself and all that stuff. So that's kind of weird, but overall, I mean, he was a super unique human being.
Yes.
There's nobody like him.
Yes, he was very unique and very individual. The funny thing is we talked about this earlier this week when we found out that he passed away, was that his Pee-wee act was not initially a children's show.
Really?
It was actually in a theater that was like, you know, midnight show, so it was a little bit explicit, right?
Oh, that's right. Didn't SNL tell him he couldn't be on the show, and so then he had to find something else to do? He's
I
overhearing
think he
the story
auditioned for
about him.
SNL but didn't get
Okay.
in. Yeah, but
Yeah.
but no, he used to do with Phil Hartman. He used to do these kind of more adult style stand-ups for in the theater until finally he refined it and turned it into a children's show, and it became the beloved Pee-wee's Playhouse, which was, of course, since I was born in the early part of the 80s,
Yeah.
that was a staple part of our television viewing diet. It was one of the few shows that we could actually get on network television. You didn't have to have cable.
Yes.
So when we watched Pee-wee's Playhouse, of course, we go to school and every freaking child is doing Pee-wee Herman. If they're not doing the Pee-wee Herman voice, then they're doing the Pee-wee Herman dance.
I remember, is he notorious for being like, aha, ha, aha? Is
No.
that him or that's somebody else?
That's Woody the Woodpecker.
Okay, just kidding.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, I'm a little too young. I'm showing my age.
Doug H says, "Hey, I had one of those. Is the voice box all screwed up?"
Yes.
Do it.
It's really bad.
Yeah,
I was
pull it.
hoping that it would sound good.
Do
So
it one more
what's
time.
his voice?
Do it one more
What's his
time.
voice sound like? Oh.
I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I?
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't realize that he just had a movie out.
Like, he
Yes,
did a new one. It came out on Netflix in 2016. It was, Big Time Adventure or something like that. But
this man was ageless. I mean, his skin looked
Yes.
just like this
Yes.
just 10 years ago.
Yes. But here's the thing. In 2016, when he did his movie, the new movie, apparently that must have been the year that he was diagnosed with cancer, because that was 6 years ago.
Oh.
So he apparently was diagnosed with cancer that year, and then he never told anybody, and he passed away this year from it. So
Isn't that interesting how a lot of the comedians in this world
mm-hmm.
don't open up about their personal struggles? Who was
Norm
that
Macdonald.
comedian? Yes.
Same thing with Norm Macdonald.
Yep.
Yeah. I love Norm Macdonald.
Yeah, and it's like he kept his cancer battle a secret as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, so
I think it's just because they want to bring joy to people and they
for
don't want to bring them
sure.
down.
Yeah, because they still want to be able to make people laugh. It's probably harder to laugh at someone who is struggling with cancer, you know?
Yeah.
Sci-Fi HQ looks like his first time commenting here. Says, "Hey, how is everyone doing? Good morning, Sci-Fi. Always love making new friends."
Doing just fine. Better now that you commented,
Exactly.
so thank you.
Welcome to the cult. All right, we're gonna have a good show
I
today.
did kind of want to watch that documentary on Netflix about how to be a cult leader. I think that sounds a little interesting.
Which one was that?
There's a new show on Netflix called How to Be a Cult Leader,
Mm-hmm.
and it literally teaches you how to do that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and we were talking about last night. And we need to stop working so hard, and we just need to start like adopting some cult mentality in
Right,
order
it's
for us to.
amazing.
It would be a lot easier for us to get ahead in doing what we're doing if we
Well,
were to
you
just
said
employ these
that
techniques.
you would not feel good about it, so that's why you would never do something like that.
I can't do.
Yeah,
I don't think I could do it because I would feel bad about taking advantage of people in such a way.
me too.
You know. Anyways, so buy our coffee.
We are honest,
Yes, exactly.
honest Abes.
Exactly. Glad to have you here this morning. Pee Wee taught me about trick gum, says Justin
What is
Peterson.
trick gum?
I think it's like they have. There's a lot of different types of trick gum, but there's like exploding gum and
Oh,
different things. Yeah. So,
so it explodes in your mouth?
I'm not entirely
Oh.
sure. I'll have Justin let us know about that one. Good morning, Hikaru. Okay. Good morning to all of our
Hey,
friends. Glad
Carmen.
to have you here. If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, we've got a lot of interesting content for you today. We're going to talk about the Trump indictment. We've got
Oh
also
boy.
some sad news.
I know.
Apparently, one of our own has been arrested and is being charged with crimes on January 6th.
Mhm.
He is a young man by the name of Angelo Pacheco, and he was actually one of the people who worked on my 2018 U.S. Senate campaign here in Missouri. He's a good kid,
Yeah.
very young, and
23.
I guess impressionable because yeah, it's 23, so he would have been. What, 20 then? Let's see,
Gosh, in
18,
2018,
19, 20,
I
21,
think he was
22,
still in
so
high
5 years
school,
ago. So we're
honestly.
talking about yeah, literally, he was like 18 when he was
Yeah.
working on my U.S. Senate campaign,
Yeah, I got to
and
know him very well myself
uh,
because I would do all the graphic design work and he ran the shop for
mhm,
your campaign. And so he would always have me send him my graphics
mhm,
and we would have to go back and forth on it. And I
yep.
remember being at Jimmy John's eating lunch with him when I came to visit in Missouri.
So here's the video that was shared with us just last night. Apparently, he was arrested just a couple weeks ago. Take a look. Seen on surveillance video entering the Capitol for 6 seconds.
Yeah.
And then this slide here says May 17th, 2023, FBI interview admitted entering the Capitol, which, why are you talking to cops, Angelo? Did you learn nothing from my Senate campaign?
Yeah. Ask for a lawyer.
Facing up to 3 years in prison unless charges are modified. Arrested on July 17th, 2023, 2 counts of disorderly conduct, parading and demonstrating in a Capitol.
Now, it seems like he's not in prison anymore at this moment
He
because
was
I did
released on his
read
own what?
on personal recognizance
Yes.
bond. I have trouble saying recognizance.
Yes. Yes, he was released on his
Yes.
own
So
recognizance this morning.
basically, I read what that is, and that means that he agreed to appear in court in October. And so therefore, they let him out of jail. I don't know if it's prison or jail,
Mhm.
but they let him out temporarily based on his agreement to appear.
Um, eh, Poor Angelo.
Yeah.
He went into the Capitol for 6 seconds.
It really makes me feel sick inside. I want to cry for the poor boy because I mean, he's such a good person. And
He is a good
these are the
kid.
people who are in our prisons. mostly good people.
Non-violent criminals.
And do you know how he got in trouble? So there was an anonymous tipster who did not even know him,
Of course.
who was comparing his Facebook and Instagram photos to the video footage.
Oh, the left,
And he just gave the FBI a tip.
well, that's the thing. That's what this video is. So, like, so what the left is doing is, like, I mean, these are people who have no time, like, nothing to do with their lives. They have no lives.
Ultimate stalkers.
Yes,
That's
and
scary.
so they've like private citizens
Yeah.
have gone out and have snitched on their fellow Americans to try and catch each one to turn them all in and turn them all into the FBI. That's what this video is.
Yeah. Is there a snitch list like the Sunshine List where we can see who's doing this?
You know what? That's a good question, and you know, that's something that I would be interested. I would be interested to see if there is something like
I
that.
really hope
Yeah.
there is. And it's just so sick hearing people bashing
Mm-hmm.
Angelo on that YouTube video. It's just they don't even know him and they're just placing judgment
Yeah.
without knowing the facts.
Right. He admitted to JP on the live stream says he admitted to it because it should not have been treated as a crime. I agree because Angelo didn't break anything,
Yeah,
destroy anything. He didn't break in. All he did was the only thing that you could say that he might have done, which could be punishable, would be climbing up on the scaffolding. But even that, you know, what are we talking about here? Like trespassing or something like that? There's no destruction of property,
right.
right? He entered the Capitol for 6 seconds, which,
Is
by
it
the way,
illegal
anybody
to
can.
enter the Capitol?
No, it's not illegal to enter the
Okay.
Capitol. Like you can you can walk into the Capitol right
Right.
now today.
Yeah.
You know, we were
Was it
talking.
because of his intentions that he was like wearing a
The client,
disguise and trying
well,
to?
his face is uncovered. I mean, at that
Right.
point, I mean, now we realize that, like, you know, if you're gonna do something like that, don't walk in with your face, you know, showing your face or things like that.
I
You know, there
know.
was a guy who walked in who had criminal intent. They said because he walked in with a bunch of zip ties, be like he was gonna, you know, zip tie people's hands up. Now that's a little different.
Yeah.
You know, when there's a clear and obvious intent to do harm or to, you know, to try and kidnap people. I'm not saying that everybody who was involved in January 6th was innocent, but Angelo Pacheco is being charged with and could have 3 years in jail
Ugh.
for entering restricted building grounds, 2 counts of disorderly conduct, and
Restricted
parading
building
and
grounds.
demonstrating.
What is restricted about this?
I mean, it's not. It's
Right.
not restricted. You're allowed to walk into the Capitol. I mean, you're not allowed to go into all places of the Capitol at all times. And some places in the Capitol, you have to go through metal detectors before you enter, or things like that. But
Okay.
I feel really bad. John Rail over in the live stream says it's about punishing anyone tied to Trump in any way, shape, or form. The
That's right.
left is dead set on demolishing Trump in any way possible. Yeah, I totally agree. Mark Levin had an interesting. Go ahead, Steph. Yeah.
It just makes me think about the Battle of Athens, and I sort of compared the Battle of Athens to January 6th in a way,
Yeah,
even
we
though
did
no
talk
guns
about
were
that with
involved.
people down in Athens. We asked them about January 6th and stuff. They were kind of hesitant to talk about that, honestly.
Yes, I know one guy was like, "I'm a judge, I can't speak on that."
Yeah.
But I guess what did happen in the Battle of Athens, that was actually breaking the law, and that's why nobody talked about it.
Mhm.
So I guess people could have ended up in jail because of the Battle of Athens, just
Yeah.
like they are on January 6th.
For sure.
But then, in terms of being a libertarian and an activist, it really does make me afraid to ever speak up, to ever demonstrate.
That's what they want.
I'm afraid. And I remember a long time ago, back when I was in the non-GMO movement, I was actually at a rally in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And this really popular, I forget her name, but this really popular libertarian activist was there. And she was using a megaphone. And she literally got arrested right in front of my face because she didn't have a license to use a megaphone.
Mhm.
And at that moment, I was like, I'm kind of scared.
Yeah.
I don't know if I really should be doing things like this.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is that that's what they want. They want you to be afraid like that. That's why they do that. They're trying to make an example out of people like Angelo so that they can punish, you know, so that essentially they can prevent people like you from going out and speaking out against their agenda. Here's what Mark Levin had to say last night on Fox News, Hannity's show. Take a listen.
We check in now with the great one. I call him the great one. He's the host of Life, Liberty, Levin. Weeknights, weekends, Sunday at 9 p.m. Top show on the network. The great one, Mark Levin. Mark, I'll just hand it to you. I know you got a lot to say.
President Trump is 76 years old. If the Department of Justice gets his way, he will die in federal prison. just by one of these counts, conspiracy to obstruct justice, which has a 20-year maximum sentence. This is a disgusting, disgusting mark on American history for the future to come by these bandits in the White House, by the Democrat Party that don't play fair anymore. They don't want to just win elections. They want to take control of this country. They want one-party rule. And they have used the Department of Justice and the FBI to get what they want. Merrick Garland is a mob lawyer. That's what he is. Jack Reed is a rogue Soviet-style prosecutor. The Presidential Records Act is not a criminal statute, and it was never intended to be. The Espionage Act of 1917 was passed under Woodrow Wilson, another corrupt president. Woodrow Wilson used it to go after his adversaries, and they imprisoned 2,000 people. So I suppose over there at the Department of Injustice, and this clown prosecutor spent a lot of time at The Hague, they probably figured these laws could be used to try and entrap Trump. All these obstruction issues that they claim, where the former Attorney General, Bill Barr, comes up here and bloviates about it, and all the formers coming on talking about obstruction. They have them on obstruction. There'd be no obstruction issue of any kind, not even in anybody's imagination, had they not criminalized this case.
So
What is obstruction?
obstruction. So obstruction of justice is like preventing the application of justice. So for that, there's many things that could apply to. But the one that I think is more interesting are the espionage charges that are being filed against him for like the documents that he took.
Right, they were not declassified.
They claim, right, so that he didn't that they were classified and that he didn't have a right to take them. But here's the thing: he's being brought up on espionage charges
What is he a spy for?
right, as if he was spying for some foreign country or something like that. But here's the thing: the espionage law that was written that Mark Levin brought up there is one that was written by Woodrow Wilson. Well, not written by, but it was passed by Woodrow Wilson in large part so that Woodrow Wilson could go after his political enemies, like Eugene V. Debs and other socialists who were protesting against Woodrow Wilson, who, ironically, of course, didn't think Woodrow Wilson was so socialist enough. But, we all know that Woodrow Wilson was very socialist. He just...
So Trump is a political enemy.
Trump is a political enemy. That's what these are, these charges. And again, you're not looking at the biggest Donald Trump fans on the planet here, but the reality is that they are making a mockery of our justice system by bringing him up on charges. Even Judge Napolitano said on this show on Wednesday that these are thought crimes. Many of these things, like conspiracy charges.
That I thought that was interesting that you used that term.
Yeah, thought crime, right? Conspiracy and thought crime, like. It's the president of the United States, the current president of the United States, Biden, has weaponized the justice system to arrest his political opponents. Like this, Donald Trump is running as a legitimate candidate in the primary to running against him as a candidate, and Joe Biden and the Democrats are using the justice system to go after their political opponents. I mean,
who's really pushing this? Is it Joe Biden who's trying to push all of this on to Donald Trump?
Well, it's a conspiracy. It's not just Joe Biden, right? It's Chuck Schumer, it's Joe Biden, it's Nancy Pelosi, it's Debbie Wasserman Schultz, right? It's Barack Obama,
all the players.
Yeah, it's all the big players on the left, and it's like at some point in time, it's like these Democrats, they just don't realize that this could be used against them. Like this power is going to be used against them, and I'm not going to feel sorry for them when they do. Like one of the things that we do on like as libertarians is we stand up and we say what's right is right, no matter who holds power or things like this.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like I'm not going to feel sorry for these Democrats. I don't think I could stand up for them.
No.
If this was being done to them in reverse after they have done something like this.
Right.
Especially with like when you see these prosecutions of these January 6 people, like Angelo Pacheco, who harmed no one, who did absolutely no like crime. In libertarian world, there's no crime. There's no crime here. There's no violation of
confused.
There's no
as
NAP
to what
violation.
A crime
here.
is anymore.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I feel like we are in 1984.
Well, you're the person who got named by a fucking sitting senator from the state of Maine. You were named by a sitting senator
for being an out-of-state, what was it?
Out-of-state troll.
Troll, basically.
Right. Yeah.
Can I go to jail for being a troll?
A sitting U.S. senator in the United States, federal senator,
yes,
went and put your name, Stephanie, on a list to ask Twitter to ban you because of your political speech that you engaged in. You, Stephanie,
Yeah.
you.
And I'm not even famous. I just wonder, how do these people find people like me, people like Angelo? I mean,
Well, they go out.
we're
They
not
want to go.
even huge
They go after
names.
people largely who they think can't protect themselves.
Right.
And I think that the issue here with Donald Trump is, and this is the reality of this right now. I think the issue is that Donald Trump is rapidly losing the ability to defend himself.
Do you think
I think
so?
that he's probably going broke.
Mm,
And we see this, and I think that because of the amount of money that he's raising for his campaign, a lot of it is
yes.
getting used for his legal expenses. And
Right.
and I read a thread the other day. I'm not sure entirely how much truth there is behind it, but I think this is quite a likely scenario.
Uh-huh.
But I think that very likely Donald Trump was hoping to take Truth Social, his social network,
Yeah.
public several months ago.
Okay.
And then when Elon Musk bought Twitter,
Yes.
that got in the way of it because everybody floated back to Twitter because a lot of people they wanted a social network where they could have free speech. And so when Elon Musk bought Twitter, I think what happened is that investors pulled out of the Truth Social
I can imagine.
because they wanted to take it public and have Donald Trump wanted the public to fund his social network. But now that all of these people fly, you saw what happened with Mark Zuckerberg's Threads, right?
What did happen with it? I never joined it,
hmm
so I don't even know. Does it exist?
It does exist, and
Okay.
I see every once in a while people using it, but the fact is that most people are not using Threads. It's
Okay.
just fallen off a cliff in terms of usership. I stopped using it. I look at it every once in a while, but it's just like Twitter. But why not
Right.
just use Twitter? Because I
Yes.
have a way bigger following over there, and there's a lot more functionality with Twitter. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
it's dying. But I think it's possible that Donald Trump is not it doesn't have the money to be defending himself at this
Gosh, if
point.
he doesn't have the money, I don't know who does,
I don't know.
because he's such a wealthy
He
man.
is, but here's the thing. From what I understand, he is wealthy in terms of assets, but he's not
Yes.
wealthy in terms of actual cash.
So he needs to sell some of those
So yeah,
assets.
so he's got a
He needs
lot.
to liquidate.
Well, but the problem is you don't want to be seen as doing that, right? If you start
Oh,
liquidating your assets like that, Stephanie, then you look weak, right? Because like a rich person doesn't liquidate their assets because they don't have to.
mm,
So he's really in kind of a pickle here
my
because
goodness.
he's got to raise a lot of money from people who honestly, people who are sending him money, they're sending him money for his legal defense
Right.
in a lot of sense. So it's like you're not using that money to campaign so much, but again, does he really need the money to campaign? Because more than likely, a lot of people just
Name
it's
recognition.
name recognition, exactly. So
It's like trying to advertise for McDonald's. We know what McDonald's is. We're going to go there anyway.
yeah, for sure, for sure. So if he goes and if he liquidates his assets, then he's seen as it'll show that he's in financial trouble. If Truth Social doesn't go public, then it's we don't know if he'll have enough money to cover all the costs for these legal bills.
And if he doesn't, then that would mean he'd probably end up in jail.
I mean, the judge said on Wednesday that he finds it far-fetched to believe that they would put uh, the president in jail.
Has there ever been a president that went to jail before? I wonder.
No, not that I am aware
I'm
of. There's
sure
not.
the jail would be really nice,
Well,
like
here
a country club.
it creates too many paradoxes.
Really?
Yes, because the president of the United States, throughout his entire lifetime, is to be protected by Secret Service.
Yes.
So therefore, how do you put a president in jail
Uh-huh.
because he is to be protected by Secret Service? Yeah,
And then the
exactly.
Secret Service is in jail with him.
Right.
And then there's somebody protecting the Secret Service and the president in the jail. It's like, how many layers of security do you need?
Right. But so to some extent, right, I do think that like the Mark Levins of the world are kind of fear mongering, like, oh, he's going to die in prison and all this stuff. But
Yeah.
here's the thing: the judge that he got for his proceedings is like she is like the enforcer, and he's in a
Ugh.
DC court, so there's no way he gets. Here's the thing: he's going to have to get a jury of his peers. There are no peers in
Mhm.
Washington D.C. of Donald Trump.
Oh
Like,
gosh.
who in Washington D.C. is gonna be like, I have no idea who Donald Trump is, and I've never heard of this case, and
Right.
I am totally impartial about this. I
How
mean,
can you find any
well,
people to be on a jury?
here's the, yeah, exactly. And here's the thing: you go, the people that they would choose to be on a jury in Washington D.C. If they did say that they didn't know who Donald Trump was, first of all, they're probably lying.
Yes.
Second of all, if they're not lying,
Yeah.
then we're talking about I mean, the mouth breathers of mouth breathers here. We're talking about the dumbest people that there must be on the planet to not know who to live in Washington D.C. and not know who Donald Trump was.
Can they take people from other states? Maybe
No,
bust them in?
no, this is in this it's in the District of Columbia,
Oh
right? So
dear.
he cannot do that. Um, but
Ugh.
so here's the thing. If you are in the District of Columbia and you are chosen to be on a jury to preside over the former president of the United States, you don't know who he is. You are going to be so easily led
Oh, of course. What else don't they know?
by the
They
prosecutors.
don't even know who the president is. You know what's so funny? When
Mm,
we're doing a mental status exam at the hospital on a patient, we ask them, who is the president of the United States?
yes.
So if you don't know who that person is, then you may not be competent. So I would definitely question these people's competency if they really don't know that he was the president.
Right. And well, exactly.
Funny.
Another reason to disqualify them from the jury pool.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, it is a it is a six ring circus, right? And it's only going to get worse
Yeah.
because, of course, he is the leading candidate for president of the United States. I mean, we really are. It feels like we really are headed towards another outbreak of violence worse than January 6th ever was.
You think?
Oh yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
don't think people are too scared to do something like that again?
Some people are too stupid to be scared. Some people are too smart to be
Yeah.
scared. There's two kinds of people when it comes to fear.
Hmm.
There's people there's people who are afraid for intelligent reasons, for smart reasons,
That's
and there's
like me.
people who are afraid for stupid reasons. Then
Mm.
there are people who are not afraid, and there are people who are not afraid for intelligent reasons, and there's people who are not afraid for stupid reasons. Okay,
Yeah.
there aren't very many. There's not very many Mensa candidates, I think, who are going to stand up and commit acts of violence to defend the president of the United States. I'm just saying.
Right.
There might be a few, right? It's not going to be Mark Levin, right? It's not going to be, I mean, Mike Lindell. I could see Mike
Oh,
Lindell,
the
getting his,
pillow
yeah,
man?
he's going to have a pillow fight, to go defend.
Pillow fight at the Capitol. Imagine him being arrested for having a pillow fight.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
funny.
Yeah. So, I mean, the only recourse, I think, in order to avoid some kind of violence worse than January 6th, in my opinion, would be to move the trial. They've got to move it. It can't be in Washington, D.C.
Hmm.
It just can't. There's no way he gets a fair trial in Washington, D.C. And if he doesn't get a fair trial, I mean, I don't know how to say this without getting banned from every single social media, but like, Mike Lindell would be justified in pillow fights if I could say that in Minecraft.
Right, not in
Okay, don't
reality.
freak out.
This is
Okay,
fake, hypothetical. Yes.
in Minecraft.
Wow. Oh, just wonder if the founders of our country were scared to make a revolution, if they were afraid of being put in jail, if they were afraid of the consequences.
That's a good question, Stephanie.
Because they seem to be smart men, in my opinion.
Right, and like it's like everything that I've read about the founders, like, over the years, their writings and writings about them and stuff like that. I don't think I've ever heard anybody talk about that. If they were afraid
Well, they felt.
yeah, how they their
Yeah.
emotional state in regards to how they felt about taking on the King of England, and fighting the revolution. But they must have felt fear. They
Yes.
must have felt some fear. Do you remember when we went to Mount Vernon
Uh-huh.
and we watched that video about Washington and how it explained how he fought his battles? And remember when the snow came down from the
Yes.
ceiling? That was that video.
Uh-huh.
There was this one part in that video where I could actually feel what I would think would be fear on Washington's part.
Really?
And it was this part where Washington was getting ready to go and bombard Boston Harbor.
Yes.
So there was a moment where Washington was waiting for the guns to be brought up to the point overlooking Boston Harbor, and they had to push these guns day and night to try and get them there in time so that they could pull this operation off.
Okay.
And all I can remember from that moment is thinking that he must have felt fear in that time, because if they had gotten captured, if they had gotten attacked before they had been able to get those guns, they would have been SOL. So
I don't know if he was numb to fear at that point. I mean, just learning about all of the battles that George Washington was involved in.
right,
I mean, he
yes.
started this stuff when he was so young.
And when he was an officer in the British Army,
Yes.
he was a British officer for a short
Which
time.
I think is so interesting.
Yeah, that his time as, and you were even shocked, even though we went to Mount Vernon and learned all the stuff, you didn't know that he was a spy.
Because I have a really bad memory about a lot of facts that are put on me all at once. So I
Which
can't
means,
remember specific details very well.
yes. Who was it? Was it George Washington? I cannot tell a lie. Was that was that, or was that Abraham Lincoln I'm thinking of?
Not sure.
But it was kind of like, yeah, it was like the legend that George Washington like wouldn't lie because he cut down the cherry tree and his dad asked him who did it and he said that he did it, but it's kind of a myth, like a
Okay.
legend of George
Yes.
Washington. But here's the thing, it's kind of, if you know George Washington, he was a spy, then
Mhm.
you absolutely know that he was absolutely a liar, because nobody is a spy. That a spy is a
He's a good
professional.
liar.
Yeah, a spy is a professional liar, right?
Yes.
But the question is, do you lie for liberty, right? Just like if the Nazis came up to, came to my house and were like, are you hiding your wife, just Stephanie, under the floorboards?
I've contemplated that question.
Mm-hmm.
If I was during the Holocaust, if I was existing then, and a Nazi came up to me and asked me if I was Jewish,
Mm-hmm.
I think I would try to deny it
Yeah, I would
to
say
save
lie.
my life.
Absolutely. I don't
Yeah.
think there's anything wrong with lying to
I
Nazis.
think a lot of my fellow Jews would say they're Jewish because they're so proud.
Mm-hmm.
And they always want to fight till the end for Judaism, and I get
There have
that.
been a lot of discussions over the years about that, right?
Mhm.
And Christians actually have this legend as well in their Revelations.
Mhm.
So in the future, when Jesus returns and people are swept back after the rapture, have you heard of the rapture? The rapture in Christian theology, the rapture is in the end times.
Okay.
Christ will return and will raise the dead who are saved of Jesus Christ. So all
Right. And he'll save some of the Jewish people, right? That's
144,000,
right.
but I
Okay.
believe that they aren't going to be swept up in the rapture.
Oh,
The
okay.
144,000 Jews will be like warriors for Christ. Like they'll be Jews for Jesus in the end times.
Okay.
Right? So you might have a chance there. But
Wow.
but here's the thing. So the Christians, so Jesus will return and will raise the true Christians from the dead, those who had salvation through Christ, and they will be swept up to heaven.
Okay.
And the but the in that time, in the end times, there is only one opportunity to be able to go to heaven after Christ has returned the second time, because he came back after he died initially,
Right.
for a little bit, like
On Easter.
3 days. Yes,
Yes.
exactly. But in the end times, in Revelations, after Christ's return, you cannot get salvation through the traditional means of accepting Christ as your Savior.
Okay.
You can only receive salvation through martyrdom.
Oh, that
Right.
means
Right.
you die for your cause.
Correct. So that means that in order for you to achieve, salvation,
Yes.
you will be asked to affirm or deny that Jesus Christ is the Son of God.
Okay.
And in the Revelations, if you affirm that Christ is the Son of
Mhm.
God, you will be murdered,
Ooh,
but you'll go to heaven.
right.
So
You really have to have deep faith.
yeah, so I'm okay. Like if Christ came back like today,
Yeah.
I would be swept up to heaven because as a young man, I accepted Christ as my Lord and Savior. But you, as a Jew,
Right.
you will not. I will be like basically like all my clothes will like fall, and I'll like my tennis shoes will be right here. What could happen, and I'll like be swept up into heaven, but you will still be there.
Yeah.
So if that happens, Stephanie, just an FYI,
Uh-huh.
just the only way for us to be together forever is that they have to say, is Jesus Christ the Son of God? And just just say yes.
And if you're seriously like flying up to the sky and I see that happening, I think
Yes.
I'll believe it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you should. So
Enough proof.
but they're gonna cut your head off.
Okay.
right? They're gonna roll around guillotines, like they're gonna have like mobile guillotines.
Really?
Yeah, and they'll
This
come
is in the Bible that the guillotines?
essentially,
Oh,
right? So it's like the Christians have created addendums to the Bible. So it's called there's a really good I read all the books, they're really good. It's called the Left Behind series, the
okay.
novels.
Yes.
They're really good about Revelations. They read as like action novels and stuff. And in like Jack Chick tracks and like what I was raised to believe, like I was told in church that there will be mobile guillotines. They'll be like on like golf carts.
What the heck?
So there'll be like little. Hopefully they'll be electric powered, so they don't hurt the
It'll
environment.
probably be run by AI at that point.
No. Well, yeah, possibly, right? So even and maybe the robots who do it.
Heaven will release
So
AI.
exactly. So the guillotines are going to come out, and the government and the devil and the hordes of Babylon and shit
My
are
God.
going to come out. I know, right? It's the first time hearing this stuff, but this
This
is
is frightening.
hey, this is religion. So the mobile guillotines
Mhm.
on like golf carts will be brought around, and so they'll come by. You'll be there with the two dogs. I'll be gone. I'll be in heaven. But
Your dogs, they
yeah,
need to accept Jesus.
well, hopefully
Yeah,
but we don't. They say that there are no souls for animals, but
right.
humans do. So the mobile guillotine is going to come to your door, and they'll say, "Do you affirm Jesus Christ is the true Son of God?" And if you say yes,
Yeah.
then they'll kill you, and then
Okay.
then you get to go to heaven.
Okay.
If you say no, then they're like, okay, you're safe. You can stay here on Earth and party with us for the last final days on Earth as like lava is pouring out of Jefferson City where the new volcano has come up through the Capitol and
There'll be
and
volcanoes
the
in Florida?
Antichrist will sit on the throne
Okay.
and all that shit. Yeah. So anyways, you didn't know all this? You weren't
No,
aware? Okay.
no.
Well, that's what happens. So
Remember I told you the other day, as long as I can stay on this earth, I think I'll be okay.
yeah.
I'm not so sure about that. I think someone sent us a super chat. Did you see that?
Yes, Quest Fanning. So thank you,
Thank you.
Quest. Yes, we appreciate you. Hey, what the heck? Where's my cheers? There we go.
We're gonna see Quest next week at the Cantina Crew float trip.
Yeah, exactly. We're excited, boy. That's going to be fun. Do you want to give us the update?
Sure. So the plans are still the same. So August 12th, Saturday, is the Cantina Crew float trip in Steelville, Missouri at Bass River Resort. We meet at Bass River Resort at 10 a.m. and float by 11. We also have a dinner on Friday night in the area and a dinner. They're both at 6 p.m. A dinner at 6 p.m. on Saturday night. I can post the Facebook event link in the chat so that you all can see the details and hopefully RSVP, just so I get a rough idea of how many people we're expecting.
Jacob Champion over on the live stream says, we had an earthquake when I worked at Kohl's, and it looked like our customers were ruptured, just little piles of clothing and shopping baskets. They corrected it and said raptured, not ruptured. Although they would be ruptured too.
Of Kohl's, and I'm
Yes.
just picturing being in an earthquake. I was flying everywhere.
Sorry, we don't mean to laugh at people's religion. We laugh at everybody's religion, but
It's just because it's at Kohl's. I think that's what makes it so funny.
all right. So
My
we've
God.
gotten so far off track, it's not even funny. At some point, the people on Rumble probably get mad at us because they tune in to hear like the topic that we have titled here, which is
Talking about Trump.
Mia Khalifa's marriage advice. Yes, I know.
Okay.
Let's see.
Let's talk about a porn star.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hold on. Let me check the comments over on Rumble because I don't like to ignore them.
Yes.
Let's
We
see.
love you all.
The Onion Dip. He gets mad at me sometimes. He says that, of course, they were scared. Talk about the founders.
Yeah.
They still pledge their sacred fortunes to the cause of human liberty. He says the Left Behind series is fiction, not scripture. Just in case there's any confusion about that. Yes, we know.
Oh, it is fiction. It's not based on the Bible.
It's based on the Bible, but it's not the Bible, right? At some point, like you have to say that the only thing that's biblical truth is the Bible, right?
Okay.
So, anyways, he says I don't think she knows anything about Judaism either, bro. Very true. I teach my wife I teach my wife and her very Jewish family about Judaism. I teach her sister, who is like conservadox Jew, about Judaism.
Exactly. Let me explain myself.
Yes.
I don't practice Judaism really. I mean, I celebrate Hanukkah and some of the major holidays just because of the food and the cultural aspect.
Mm-hmm.
I was born with a Jewish mother. And so technically, based on Jewish law, I am Jewish. So I can't really take that away from myself. So that's why I identify as Jewish. But in terms of who I am spiritually, I just say I'm pretty much agnostic.
Yeah, but because I was raised as a Christian
Yeah.
and a Southern Baptist fundamentalist Christian, where we are taught that every word of the Bible is the law, the word of God.
Right.
And so we read the Bible, and like we have to memorize verses from the Bible. And you learn that the Jews are God's chosen people,
Right.
but the Christians who accept, like those who accept Christ, become part of God's chosen people.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a little exception in there if you accept Christ. And so there's Jews and Gentiles, and even though Jews still kind of look at Gentiles like pretty much the same way that they used to, and some days kind of like, ick. That now the Christians are kind of like, we are also God's chosen people because we accept Christ. And then
Yeah.
there does come in some like anti-Semitism in behalf of like some Christians, especially like real hardcore like trad Catholics and stuff. Because one of the whole like Jesus being killed thing, which is weird because Jesus of course was a Jew, but then there's also this kind of like oh, they don't accept Christ, so it's like they of course have to be rejected and will be rejected by
Right.
and rejected from heaven.
Yeah.
So anyways, let's talk about something else because
Yeah, this is
everybody
getting
already
really deep and
everybody already
serious.
knows all this stuff anyway. Can we talk about something else? All right.
Absolutely.
what do
Let's
we-
talk about porn.
No, let's talk about, before we talk about porn, can we talk about our friend John Burke over at Shell Shock CBD, because
Yeah.
he's got some incredible products, a Delta Bar 8. Now, I know that we're going to have a little float trip here next week. So maybe that's going to be my first little my
We're gonna
chance.
do a giveaway.
The thing is that with when it's like a Delta 8 bar like
Yeah.
these, when it's got 40 milligrams in there, it's like, it's so strong.
Yes.
I never have time to be able to like be this under the influence.
Exactly.
Because it's like when you're this under the influence, you better have like a vacation day.
Right.
But I'm curious.
Does anyone want to try it at the float?
We're going to try to the float trip, but here's the thing. I don't want to run out. So you might want to grab your own bar before the float trip next week.
Yeah.
And I'm going to recommend that here's what you do. Johnny Rankin says, don't get your Christian doctrine from Dollar Bookstore series. Very funny. Thanks for the super chat, by the way, Johnny.
Yeah, thank you, Joni.
Thank
We're
you.
excited to see you
We're very
next
excited.
week.
We're very excited to see you next week.
Yes, we can talk
Joni.
more about religion
Yeah,
together.
we're going to have a great float trip. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes.
But
I was actually really excited when John Burke, I'm talking
go
about
ahead.
his Shell Shock.
Yeah, go ahead.
Last night he posted about the items that I use from his shop, which is the vitamin gummies. There's elderberry, apple cider vinegar, and ashwagandha. And he was posting about those and talking about how good they are. And I can speak to it. I love the gummies. They taste like candy.
We're very excited.
And I want to eat so many of them, but I know that that's probably not good.
I don't know. Check the nutritional.
Focusing on vitamins. So.
All right. Check the nutritional value on there.
Yep.
We dropped the code both in the Rumble chat as well as on YouTube. Make sure you use that code so that we can get credit from our buddy John. We want to let him know that people who watch the Wake Up America show are supporting our sponsors to help us to continue to bring you 5 days a week, great content, 2 hours a day, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central. Our sponsors help make that happen. So I know you've got the website over there, and if you do happen to use that, just make sure you use that code AP for Liberty. It's still good, but the best way to do it for us to track who's buying stuff from Shell Shock is to use the code or to use the link that I've dropped in there. So check it out, save the link, bookmark it for later so that you can take some time and go through it, and we'd be super grateful for your
We've
support.
really been seeing that you all are using it. We get notifications every time somebody uses it, and we're like, oh, somebody has our link. That's cool.
For sure. All right, let's move on. The Onion Dip over there says, no, if you don't accept Christ, Jews are going to hell. We're moving on, Onion Dip.
Yeah, I mean, I know that, and that's cool with me.
Right? I know.
Say it to my face.
Yeah, exactly. Go to heaven for the climate, hell for the company.
That's right.
Let's see. Okay, so let's. Before we get to Mia Khalifa, which we still got like another 15 minutes.
Gosh,
so
it's just, ooh,
God,
so tempting.
From God to gutter in one
What?
thing. That's
What
what
is this?
Brian Lewis said. From God to gutter. Speaking of gutter, though, this is a nice little gutter topic as well. Costco employee claims she was unfairly disciplined for wearing this dress at work. Take a look and a listen.
I just want to know, do I look inappropriate for work?
Yes.
My dress code is a polo and dress pants or jeans, no rips. I'm dressed appropriately. However, I was called into the office because I don't have the right body shape. I cannot help my body shape. I got a verbal because of my body shape, and I was told I need to wear bigger clothes. I don't appreciate being body shamed. I'm being body shamed. They don't know what I went through in my life and the trauma that I went through to have to deal with being body shamed at work. All I want to do is work. And I'm not being dramatic, but you pulled me away from doing my job to tell me that I have the wrong type of body to wear the clothes that I'm wearing. I have on regular dress pants. And your excuse was the men in the tire shop and the boys keep stopping and looking at me. That's not my fault. You don't know the type of hell I had to go through my whole life just for how I look.
First of all, she's a woman in the workforce, so she's already got that going against her right there. So that's already haram. But I mean,
Should be at home, barefoot.
Exactly. Why is she
in
working?
the kitchen.
Exactly. Why is she taking a job away from a man? She can't choose her body shape, but she can choose her clothes, says Dan Smith. How do you respond, Stephanie?
So this actually reminded me of a girl that I worked with before who had this exact same problem. She had a very similar body shape, wore those dress pants, and you could see her underwear lining and all of the nooks and crannies of her thighs. And because of how this person dressed at work, all of the staff were required to wear lab coats to cover our bodies just because we were trying to cover that one person up. So we all had to suffer because of that.
Yes, because she had so much junk in her trunk and was showing it
Yes.
off with the way, because if you're wearing, you can wear, slacks, but if
Right.
if you got a giant if you got giant TNA, what kind of slacks you wear,
Right.
right? Like maybe it should say specifically loose fitting, baggy clothing.
Loose fitting, yeah. Yeah, it's like if you do have, a very large chest, for example,
Hmm.
how should you wear your clothes? Should you be required to hide your chest? Remember that woman that's in that one commercial that we've talked about before, and she has a very large chest, but on the commercial she hides the chest,
Yes.
and you
Oh,
have no
yes.
idea.
She's like the AT&T wireless chick.
Right.
Yeah, and she's like it was like this huge story that came out several years ago when she was spotted on the red carpet and she had like her cleavage bared. And it
Right.
was like, what? Whoa,
No,
where
so
did
it's
that
like
come from?
if she exposed herself at work, would that be inappropriate? Should she really cover herself up and look really dorky
Hmm.
just to be more professional? So
Yeah.
there's a debate.
Levin 214 over Rumble says he thinks that she's an attention seeker. I agree.
Of course.
I agree. I think that
Of course.
she knows exactly what she's doing. She's like,
Yeah.
oh, I've been body shamed and all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of like, well, maybe it's because you're trying to get people's attention. Because the thing is, it's like men are shamed for noticing.
Right. Why are you looking at me?
Yeah, why are you looking at me? Why don't you control yourself and all that kind of stuff? And it's kind of like, is there no responsibility at all, like on the behalf of the person? Like if I had if I was wearing assless chaps,
Exactly. I'm thinking, what clothes
and
would you
I mean,
have to wear to make it be
if I were wearing
inappropriate?
assless chaps,
Yes.
and people were like, hey, yo, your hairy ass is hanging out. It's not that hairy, but
No, it's
it's
not.
got a little
Yeah.
hair.
Yeah.
But I've got a giant ass. And
Yes.
if I were wearing assless chaps and somebody was like, yo, put that thing away, man. Too much junk inside that trunk. I would be like, yo, why are you looking? Why don't you control where you're looking? People would obviously be like, that's ridiculous.
Could be like, these are dress pants. I bought them at Kohl's.
Yeah, they're faux leather. They're vegan leather. I haven't even killed any animals in order to do this.
Yes.
Right, exactly. And one Patriot listener, he gets the heart of it. He nails it. He said, clearly people who are not attention seekers do not post videos. Exactly. Thank you.
Wearing the name tag of the company you work for.
Right. Yes,
At
exactly.
this point, she's probably totally fired.
Exactly. Women respond to what men want. Hence how some women dress. Yes, I agree. So, Matt Unruh is saying that I don't think that this is comparative. You're a bullshitting liar. It's not
I
true.
guess in the dress code, Costco needs to be more specific
Mm-hmm.
about what professionalism is. So they might need to, like you said, say loose fitting dress
Yeah.
pants, not tight clothing,
Yes.
something like that.
Tolly
I don't
Owens.
know a politically correct way of saying hide your boobs in your butt.
Well, here's how to do it. Hide your boobs in your butt, okay? Like, not
Yeah.
everybody when we're trying to be professional, not everything needs to be sexualized.
Exactly.
Okay, right? It's like, well, it's my body, it's sexualized. It's like, yeah, the human body it has an inherent sexual tone to it. Just like
Yes.
if I wore assless chaps, right?
Yeah.
Just like if I wore assless chaps. It is
Maybe we should
comparative.
all just move to an African village and
Yes.
just be naked.
There we
And then
go.
we can just be so body positive.
Talia Owen
not
says,
worry.
pretty sure they never said she has the wrong body type. I've been warned for close-fitting clothes, and I was skinny as hell back then, Tolly. So that's what Tolly says.
So she was also warned as well?
She got warned before, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Elizabeth Press says, if you were wearing khakis and they told you your ass is too big, pants too tight, how tight is too tight? Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, I used to watch those mothers on the Maury Povich show, and they used to look really slutty,
Yeah.
honestly. And, they'd be like, what's wrong with what I'm wearing? I've got a 3-year-old son. I'm at the grocery store wearing my hoochie mama clothes. What's wrong with it? And then like
Hoochie Mama, I've never heard that in a long
on the
time.
Maury Povich show, then they would give them makeovers and
Uh-huh.
make them look really professional. And then their children would be crying in the studio. Like, you look so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. All
So
right.
maybe that's what this lady needs. She needs to go on the Maury show, get a makeover, and learn how to be professional.
Exactly. All right. So it's time for us to talk about the things that we have promised we were going to talk about. Mia Khalifa. She is, we don't say the word P, the P word. Use the word.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Use the word adult film.
Adult
film star. So
I didn't know who she was, to be quite honest. Until this morning. You had to tell me.
I did. We'll talk about it. Mia Khalifa's.
I'm kidding.
Mia Khalifa's marriage advice when we get back on the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Donald Trump and I approve this message. Believe me, Austin Peterson is the best. He's got the greatest Wake Up America show I've ever seen. Whenever I tune in the mornings and watch the live stream, let me tell you, he has got the absolute best content. I love his guests. It's just a total blast to watch, and I highly endorse and recommend the Wake Up America show. It's terrific, believe me.
Hello, my name is Kelvin. Welcome to Frenchy Bush. This is my Didi's website. Now I've decided to speak to you with my real voice for the first time ever to tell you about how cool Frenchy Bush is. But I've decided that this is the perfect opportunity to share with you. Frenchy Bush is a good website. You should follow us on socials. If you like Frenchies or any kind of bulldogs, me and my new brother George are going to try to make your life more fun.
Hello, I'm George. My neck isn't really thick yet, but it will be. We are so glad you're here. Please ignore my floating eyeball. It helps me spot predators who might be approaching from the sides.
Didi made Frenchy Bullshit to review things that he uses on me and my brother to tell you if it's good or bullshit. Take this collar, for example. Didi really likes it. Didi said it's really handy because us Frenchies got thick necks. Need something really tough. People think Frenchies are little, but if you look at us from below, you can see we are really pretty buff. Beefcake. Yes. Look at my creamy thighs and chest. Yes. You like that?
Big brother, please focus.
Frenchy Bush. Please follow us for more great content and read the Frenchy Bush blog for more fun and cool stuff.
I'm a public defender.
I am a public defender.
I'm proud to be a public defender.
80% of Americans accused of a crime will get appointed a public defender.
Everybody from a speeding ticket to capital murder.
For every dollar we spend on public defenders, we spend $3 on prosecutors.
Public defenders have to do pretty much everything on their own.
Social workers, counselors.
Investigating is another piece of it.
The average public defender holds 300 cases annually.
You never feel like there's enough time.
Public defenders have health issues all the time.
A lot of people give up and say, I can't do this work anymore.
Gideon's Promise trains, mentors, and supports public defenders.
There are a lot of people who say that they would not still be public defenders, but for Gideon's Promise.
It's fueled me to continue on in this fight.
Gideon's Promise has changed the face of public defense.
People see us as troublemakers.
Good trouble only.
We don't make it easy. It should not be easy to take away someone's liberty.
Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP for Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's Revolutionary Roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's Patriotic Perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks. Just pure, patriotic, pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your Founding Flavors at apforlibertyshop.com. Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericashow.com. We've got a lot of fun content going on today, and we've been loving the chat this morning. But don't forget, while you're chatting, to drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already that you're watching this on today. We love all of our followers over on Rumble and YouTube, and we do get a few people watching us on Facebook and some other networks as well. So we're grateful for you all here today.
There's controversy this morning.
A lot of controversy.
They're even picking on me slightly for watching my words.
As you should, as they should. And nobody is immune from controversy.
No.
And of course, it's Family Friday, so the lovely Stephanie Peterson is joining us here today.
And Pee-wee.
And Pee-wee. He passed away. We'll do that a little. Capitan this morning. Good morning, Capitan. He says, one reason I love watching the AP for Liberty show is the wide variety of topics covered. Steffi was the star of today's show for sure. Keep up the great work. Yes, you're the star today.
It's very nice.
It is very nice. See, there you go. So.
I think you're the star, but
I get to be the star 4 out of 5 days a week. Actually, I had Camelia on yesterday, and she was the star of the show.
Yeah.
It was awesome watching her blow up to the brightest color red I've ever seen.
Honestly, I'm so happy you didn't have me read that transcript from Giuliani because I'm not sure how I would have handled it.
I
think I would have read it in a very professional, factual manner.
Where his whole thing was like, I claim these tits are mine. And I love that. I posted a meme that my buddy Namrock made yesterday, and it was like 2 fists clenching together to like in one, and it was like, these tits are I claim these tits, and one is Rudy Giuliani, and then the other one is my wedding day. So I claim these tits.
Yes.
Anyways, women should be seen and not heard, says Rare Camellia. Well, maybe when they're talking about things like that, or maybe they should be, not seen or heard, because honestly, the Costco girl, the way that she was dressed, I mean, haram.
Yeah.
Haram.
I mean, I wouldn't tempt men like that. I mean, I don't even know why you can't.
You don't do that. I think that's, we're going to move on to Mia Khalifa here in just a moment.
Okay.
But I think it's important to note that my wife is not a hooter. You do like I can't even convince you to like. Sometimes I'm like, Stephanie, we're gonna do like some such and such event. Like you don't have to wear a T-shirt underneath that top or whatever, something like that, and you'll be like, oh no, I will not show like all that kind of stuff because I mean,
I'm modest just
yes.
based on my nature.
But people like they should know, even though they don't know. Like you got a body. Like
Oh, I do.
she's got. I mean, she's got a.
You know, here's the thing: people who really have something good, they don't have to show it off.
Exactly.
That's how you know when somebody really has good qualities because they don't flaunt it.
Right, because you wouldn't show up to work at Costco with like an outfit like that chick. But you could.
I could.
You could, and
I don't want to attract men. That's the thing. Can I say this word? COCK. I am the biggest COCK blocker. When I used to go to the clubs when I was single, I wouldn't even let these men dance with me. I'd be like, and I'd go dance with my girls.
You see, my wife is also modest, says Matt Unruh. See, that's the thing. That's how you know you got a good one, guys. Don't you? So you know what? Speaking of modesty, Mia Khalifa, former adult
right?
film star, she has a few words. She has some advice for us on our marriage. Stephanie,
Okay.
Are you ready to listen to her marriage advice? Okay, here we go. Here's Mia Khalifa, adult film actress, advice on marriage.
Oh, we're comparing stats. Baby girl doesn't know that I am Tom Brady at this game. Married at 18, divorced at 21. Second marriage, married at 25, divorced at 28. Third engagement, engaged at 29, ended it at 30, but I kept the ring. I'm still keeping Tom Brady on his toes.
Why did
we
you
should
keep
not
the
be
ring?
afraid to leave.
We'll get to that in a second. Hold on. So like, don't focus on that. Let's get to the next part. Here's the real meat of this.
We should not be afraid to leave these men. We are not stuck with these people. Marriage is not a sanctimonious thing. It is paperwork. It's something, it's a commitment you make to someone. But if you feel like you're not getting anything from that commitment and you're trying, you gotta go. You gotta go. You have to go. I know it's difficult to fill out paperwork and to make appointments and to do all of these things, but this is your fucking life. Do you want to be stuck with someone? Period. Do you want to be stuck with?
I know a lot of people feel the same way she feels.
Yeah, well, she married at 18, divorced at 20, right? Married at 22, divorced at 24, like, all the stuff. Stephanie, all right, give me your hot take on this.
I just think the idea of marriage is really changing, and I can see one day that the vows will probably change. It will no longer be till death do us part. It will be, if I'm no longer happy, then we will part.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think couples need to be honest with each other about that. If they're truly going into marriage thinking that it might not work out, they need to have that in their agreement.
Well, they already have that. It's called a prenuptial agreement.
Yes.
You sign a prenuptial
So a
agreement. That already exists.
Is a red flag already.
Well,
You think
I
something won't
think
work out.
you're right. It probably is a red flag, but unfortunately, because of how biased and one-sided the divorce courts are in this country, I think more and more men. It's less and less a red flag, and more a sign of an intelligent man who does that.
Yeah.
But the thing is that her advice here is terrible. It's like it's not till death do us part. We said it till death do us part.
Yes, and I truly believe
Yes, and our vows are that we are going to stay together until we die, right? So that's
And even if that's why in my personal vows that I wrote, I said like even if we change and have disagreements, we will still work through that and we will try to figure it out. So even if bad things happen, which that was the advice I was given before I got married was expect that things are not going to go perfect in your marriage.
Exactly.
And
Thanks.
I'm not expecting that.
No, of course not. Even though they have been perfect so far.
Right.
Quest Fanning says, "Welcome to Costco. I love you," and he dropped $1.99 into the super chats. Thank you, Quest.
It's my favorite store.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. Thank you, by the way, for the super chats, and please do drop super chats out there. Stephanie, you want to make an appeal to help us to finish the production on our documentary? We do need to raise a lot of money to finish this baby off.
So yeah, we just got back from Tennessee last week. It was super fun, and I really enjoyed being your production assistant.
You are now an associate producer, actually.
Yes, I mean, I literally was behind the camera.
Yeah, you were helping to produce.
Yes.
Yeah, you were getting guests on camera.
I probably was going through the crowd at the Battle of Athens festival and trying to recruit people to be on camera and getting them to sign their speaking waivers. It was kind of nerve-wracking, but
You
I
did a good
honestly
job.
really enjoyed it, and I
Yeah.
think I helped out a
And
lot.
we got all of our drone footage that came in yesterday, and we've got much of the interviews at the festival. So we're really
Right.
excited to look at that today and
But
this
the work
weekend.
is not over
The work
yet,
is
so
not.
you
We've got
still have to do a lot of editing.
not only just editing, but we still have to shoot try and shoot the battle. So
Yes.
I'm gonna go and try and raise the rest of the money to shoot the battle.
Mhm.
I'm gonna approach Tim Pool. I'm gonna approach Oliver Stone's son, Sean, to try and talk to them about it. See if I can get the rest of the money to do it.
If any of you know anybody who might be interested in helping us with this documentary, tweet out to them, email them, call them.
Yeah, let them know what we're
However you're
doing.
connected to these people, just
And
let them know
right,
about
and
this.
and of course your financial support is
Mhm.
very much appreciated. Studio 314 says taking advice from someone with 3 failed marriages seems appropriate. Lol. He says last super
Exactly.
chat was filled with sarcasm. If you couldn't tell, thank you, John. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, all of those super chats help us to keep the lights on here, as well as to continue to produce excellent content. And our very first feature-length documentary, "Bleed America in the Battle of Athens," which we're hoping to have come out before the election next year. So
I really learned a lot from the interviews, and
Mhm.
I'm really excited to share these interviews with you all because I think you'll find something out about the Battle of Athens that you didn't know before.
Yeah, we did. We certainly learned a lot. I thought I knew everything about it. So thank you very much for everything that you guys have done to support us so far. Tolly Owens says, I love that you all do this stuff together. Yes.
I heard that from another friend recently that
Really?
we do so much together and they really admire that about us.
Mhm.
I don't know how other couples are. Do you do a lot of things
We're
apart?
sort of sickeningly sweet to an extent, because I think it was prompted. You were telling me because we go to karate together,
Right.
which is like
And we travel together,
we
we go to
travel
Tennessee together. We
together.
basically work together.
Yeah. Today
Yeah.
actually is like our joint work day together. So today's the day
Yes.
that you're actually. Today I'm going to teach you how to cut clips from the show,
Yes.
and
I've decided on Fridays I'm taking that day off from my normal job and I'm going to help with the business.
Yeah, I guess we can. I mean, we've already kind of said it, so we can talk about it for a couple of minutes. Is that like we're hoping to transition to you working for my business full time?
Eventually,
Yeah.
yeah. It'll make it a lot easier when we have a family
Mhm.
because as a, woman and a parent, it would be hard to work and do therapy while
Mhm.
your child is screaming in the background.
Yeah, for sure. So our hope is that Stephanie will be able to basically be like how my mom and dad were. They worked out together in the same business. My mom did a lot of stuff to help his business be successful, and of course, the whole family prospered. So
Yeah.
Stephanie is going to start on Fridays. She's no longer doing therapy on Fridays, and she's going to start working for the Wake Up America show and apforlibertyshop.com on Fridays full time there. So, and then the hope is that we can actually start to see financial results from that we can then
Yeah.
turn to adding another day and then adding another day and then
Mhm.
adding another day until hopefully she can work for the business full time. So all of your financial support, your purchases of Founding Flavors coffee, your super chats, your monthly donations, they definitely go a long way to help support the show. I saw last night we lost a monthly supporter. Yeah, so a Peterson's Patriots at 17.76 a month,
It's too
but
bad.
yeah, it is. But that's what happens. You have attrition,
Yeah.
right?
I
So
mean, people have their own financial stuff
of
going on, so
course,
we totally understand.
Grant dropped a super chat and says, "Reach out to Luke Rukowski." That's a good idea.
Thank you. Oh, he's on the Tim Pool show.
Yeah, so we can reach out to Josie and to Luke and
Yep.
see if they might be able to help us because I know Tim does want to be a part of projects like
He
these.
talked about it recently.
Yeah, so I want to put together the reel first.
Yes.
So I'm going to put together the sizzle reel and then I'll approach them and say, "Hey, what's up? Would you guys like to be a part of this?" Because we definitely want to shoot the actual battle, and if we can, then I think this is going to be phenomenal documentary. So we'll see.
I think so.
All right. What else do we need to do? Okay. So let's get back on track to where we were. We were talking about Mia Khalifa's marriage advice there. Can we just play the clip again one more time? Let's do this because she's. I want to take a listen to this here.
Oh,
It's
we're
really good
comparing
advice.
stats. Baby girl doesn't know that I am Tom Brady at this game. Married at 18, divorced at 21. Second marriage, married at 25, divorced at 28. Third engagement, engaged at 29, ended it at 30, but I kept the ring. I'm still keeping Tom Brady on his toes.
Pause. So she kept the ring.
Do you know why she did that?
Because she's a bitch.
Oh.
I mean, why else would you do something like that?
Would you ever wear your ring when you're in another relationship? That would be weird to me.
It's, you know what it is? They should keep the ring. She probably sells the ring. You know what I mean? She's not going to keep the ring. She's going to take it down to wherever she can pawn it and sell it. Corey Clive C says, "Are you going to create a forum or something for the crew at some point?" I don't Facebook. Yeah, we do need to have something where people.
Forum? What do you mean?
Well, like a Discord or some way for us to kind of keep in touch and to chat. You know what? We could do something like that. What do you use Instagram? Because we could come up with like a group chat somewhere on some other network. Because everybody uses different networks. I don't really use Discord a lot.
During your campaign, when you were running for office, all of us congregated on Twitter pretty much, and we have all these libertarian campaign chats still existing till this day from your campaign.
Oh, that's right, like a group chat on Twitter.
We do.
We could do something like that.
If anybody has Twitter, we can probably invite you to some of those
But
groups.
some people don't use Twitter. See, the thing is that like unfortunately, because we exist on Rumble, we exist on YouTube, and then I have all these social networks, we become stratified, and we need one thing that everybody will use in order for us to coordinate ourselves, because I do think that the Wake Up America show does struggle in part because the community only exists while the show is going on. And we do need to have some kind of like an outside thing. Radio shows do this, other streams do this. They have like a
wonder where
Discord.
people go. Oh, Discord.
They usually use Discord. So maybe it's time to finally find we've been using it for Midjourney and for our AI stuff.
Yeah, we have accounts.
Yeah, so anyways, but can we convince all the other people to do it? That's the thing.
I don't know. I don't know if some of these people that watch our show use Discord.
Exactly. So it's an interesting question. We'll have to check it out. We'll have to talk about it a little bit later.
Brainstorm. Give us ideas.
Yeah, let us know. If you're just tuning into the show, good morning. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. Happy Friday. It's Family Friday, so the lovely Stephanie Peterson, my wife, is here joining us today. Yep. Twitter had a Twitter Circles feature, says Kermode Bear. Levin214 says, AP and Steffi are super adorable. Will Run Riot says that Mia Khalifa keeps losing at marriage. That's not the Tom Brady of marriage. That's more like the Ryan Leaf of marriages. I don't know who Ryan Leaf is.
I have a proposal.
Let's hear it.
Should we let adult film stars get married? Should it be illegal for them to get married?
You know what? Here's the thing. Even if let's say you're a guy, adult film star, don't marry another adult film star. Now, you may have a hard time finding someone who's not an adult film star who will marry you. But don't marry an adult film star, right? Like you're just setting yourself up for defeat and for failure and for unhappiness. They always end, with unhappiness, right?
As Pearly Thing says, if she's not a virgin, is it even marriage?
Pearly Things, yeah, and which is funny because Pearly Things is not a virgin herself. You love it, yeah. Look at you sticking your tongue out.
I'm like kind of a fan of hers. I think she's funny.
You like Pearly Things,
yeah?
It's because she's a ginger as well. Is that another thing? Like some ginger pride.
She owns up to the fact that she's not super fashionable. She was at a TPUSA event recently, and her clothing just did not match. It didn't look very good, and she's like, "I know, guys, I have no fashion sense. It's fine." I can totally relate.
Well, she kind of like revels in being mid, right? So that's kind of her thing, right? So she revels in being mid, and that it's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah,
it's like,
she can own all these people being mid. Isn't that cool?
Yes. Somebody made a really funny parody of Pearly Davis, and here it is. Yeah, let me play the parody for you. Here it is.
If you're over the age of 18 and unmarried, you're a low-value hag.
You're not married, aren't you 27? Men love how my hair is always sopping wet. Rather be a pick-me than a skip-me. You're just trying to set me up so I say something stupid. I just don't think women deserve legs. I think we should chop them all off. Women are just better unseen and unheard unless it's me. Then I need to be seen and heard everywhere. Ending the interview. We're done.
I mean, most of what she says, you guys, you can't take it seriously. And I don't think she takes it seriously either. So take everything she says with a grain of salt and just enjoy the satire.
I think that's kind of what I think. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it, is that it's kind of a satire. Is that like, I don't think that Pearly Things like really means everything that she's saying, to be quite honest. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
She's just having fun.
Yeah. And she's trolling people who are like, insane feminists and leftists.
Because you know what that gets her? followers,
Yes.
funny,
Yes.
smarter than most of us.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You know, they call her the female Andrew Tate and all that. And I just,
Well, in terms of
well,
Andrew Tate, do you think he's being honest though, or is he just
No.
trolling everybody too?
Probably.
So
Yeah,
he's
probably the
playing
same
the game
thing.
also.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think that a lot of times they're really just they are. Oh my God, I'm glad I didn't have that pulled up. That is hardcore pornography. All right.
What are you looking at?
Well, I was looking up clips of pearly things and all that kind of stuff, and then I saw a picture of
Mia?
no. It was a male member like between a female's Rudy Giuliani would like that video, honestly. So I'm just glad that if that had been pulled up on the screen because I had the screen pulled up for a second there, we would have gotten in big trouble. We would have shut down all the streams and delete it. It would have been bad. Oh yeah, that was hardcore stuff.
Like a child safety lock on the computer.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I was like, why is that? I hate that there's hardcore porn on Twitter, to be honest. Because like, I every once in a while I'm scrolling through and you'll see something, and it's just like, good God, what is this?
I think it's who you follow because
Not
sometimes
always, because I was just doing a search. Right there.
here's the thing. Sometimes people will follow you and their accounts seem really pure.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden they transition to something really gross.
Mhm.
And then that's why it appears on your feed. So you have to go through your followers every now and again and see if they're still who they were before.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll just, a lot of times I will follow someone. I'll do like a follow for follow. So if they follow me, then I'll follow them. But what I didn't realize is that when you do that like some of those are like porn bots.
Yes.
Or excuse me, adult film bots.
Yes.
And so I get like I will like be scrolling through my Twitter feed
Mm-hmm.
and I'll see two dudes railing each other and I'm like, God.
Follow.
Yeah. And then I'm just kind of like, no, just kidding. But if you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, good morning. I'm Austin Peterson. We're glad to have you on the show today. Make sure that you click like and subscribe to the channel so you can get updates when we go live every Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. Family Friday means the lovely Stephanie Peterson is joining us in studio
But it is
today.
not PG family Friday.
Yeah, it's a little PG-13. We're not really going rated R. There have been a few
It was almost X-rated just a moment ago.
There have been a few bad words that have been said today. Yes, exactly. Kermode Bear says porn accounts spam search terms to get traffic. I hate it. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Levin214 says no man would be in a serious relationship with this girl. I think he's talking about Mia Khalifa. He's talking about Pearl. He says no man would be in a serious relationship with this girl. She'll only get the Andrew Tate types who will use her and lose her, and she'll play the perpetual victim. He says it would be rough to be with someone in the burlesque entertainment industry. No, it's true. I mean, it's kind of the same way with dancers to a certain extent. Like some girls in the entertainment industry, because that's tangential. I guess you can say technically I'm in the entertainment industry and that I've worked in it because I have.
Yeah.
But like the women in the entertainment industry to a large extent are damaged. They are damaged goods.
Sure.
And so it's really hard to have a good relationship. I remember I had one girlfriend who she became like while we were dating, she like got on Broadway and she became, a Broadway actress and was getting all these great parts and stuff like that. And it's just like you can't keep a person like that. You can't, because the temptation, being surrounded by the most beautiful men, right, who are also like rich and famous and successful like that, like it's too much for most people. They can't. That's why like Hollywood actors and actresses, their marriages tend to fall apart because it's like
they're distant from each other all the time because they're traveling.
Yeah. And then it's like if you're hanging out with Jennifer Lawrence,
right,
or Scarlett Johansson,
and in a movie with them,
having
a physical scene,
and I'll tell you that having been in plays and shows where you have a romantic interest, it definitely crosses the line.
You think so?
So
like when you had a romantic interest in a show, you think it crossed the line?
It crosses the line.
Yeah.
What happens is that because if you're a good actor, you will well up real emotions and you will develop real emotions for that person.
But in your character, not in yourself. But it's within you. So it's like you are that person.
It is. It's in, some people might be able to compartmentalize that. Maybe they're the great actors and things like that. Maybe I'm just not. But the reality is that when you are in a relation, when in a movie or a television show or a play, and you have that relationship with someone, especially if they are attractive and things like that,
Of course.
you do develop like this relationship with that person. Just like if you work with anybody else to some extent, they become like a work wife or a
Right.
work
And
husband.
people think that's totally innocent, but I think there may be some emotional cheating going on there sometimes.
Yeah, there is. There certainly is. So, dating people in the entertainment industry at all is
Yeah.
really a dubious prospect. I mean, we benefit from the fact, Stephanie, that you and I don't live in big cities.
Right.
Like
We've
I'm not,
protected ourselves in that way, but maybe it won't be forever that way. We
yeah,
might
no.
have to move to a big place where there are temptations.
Yeah. Because like I like the fact that I don't have to worry about any kind of temptations. It's less
Yeah.
distracting.
Right.
Just from I'm not saying that like I would cheat. What I'm saying is that I like the fact that I don't have to worry about distractions.
Right.
So I come in here, I do my show in the morning, and then I go home. And if I'm ever out and about in mid Missouri hanging out, I mean, we're talking about toothless wonders, right? We're not talking about actresses and actors and things like that. There's not constant temptation. And when you work in politics, most people are ugly anyway. So the fact is that it's not like
Sorry, AOC.
right. But it would be different if we were in Washington, D.C. right now, right? If I was doing this show in D.C., you'd be having to do cocktail parties, and
I'd have to dress up and wear those heels and not be so modest.
it would be a different thing. So, we're gonna go. I'm excited though for the movie that I'm in that you're gonna get to be on the red carpet for, which is gonna be exciting. You want to
I'm
tell?
going to dress in style for that.
Yeah, for
Not
sure.
the runway.
Yep, for sure. So, so I got I think I told him a small part in a movie that's going to be coming out next year. And I told him, I was like, the only thing I want is, a small payment and an invitation to the red carpet premiere. And it's got some Hollywood actors in it that you guys know.
Yeah,
So
it's very
I'm
cool.
excited for it.
Me too.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So there'll be sometime next year, you guys are going to get to see a red carpet image of me and Stephanie.
Yeah.
And Stephanie will be in a pretty dress. We'll find something sparkly for her so that she can wear it. And then you'll have to wear it.
Probably go to a salon and have my makeup and hair done and just go all out for it.
Yeah, and then you'll actually have to wear heels.
Yes.
It's mandatory.
Yeah, because I mean, in those types of settings, I like to fit in. Here in
Yes.
Jefferson City, I'm almost a little too trendy for the Jefferson City people.
Yes.
So I feel really cool, but
Yeah.
I'd be below those people.
It is hilarious. Like when I walk out the front door after the show in the morning. So like today, when I walk out the front door, Jefferson City is a government town. So
Right.
people are always kind of like buttoned down, even
Uh-huh.
especially when there's in session, there's people in suits.
Right.
And I like walk out the front door of the office here and I'm wearing this. And it's just kind of like,
I know.
Austin stands out
You
like a
were
sore
even
thumb.
on the floor testifying for some bill.
Oh, dude, I was kind of embarrassed, but I did it anyway because who gives a shit? It's just the government. So
Yes.
I had to testify for some legislation here, trying to cut back on parking tickets because they were plaguing us here in Jeff.
Right.
So I was wearing, I think I was wearing my Japanese cherry blossom shirt.
Oh my goodness.
And it's just, oh no. It was like the wild blue and like gray one that I have. And so I didn't have time to change. So I just went into the hearing and everybody's wearing like, 3-piece suits and pantsuits and like looking all Hillary Clinton and shit.
Oh,
And
boy.
so I like walk in and sit down. I look like there's this meme, and some people are going to know what I'm talking about,
Uh-huh.
of like two golfers, and like one golfer is dressed very like conservatively and like gray and white and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The other one's got like a Hawaiian shirt. He's smoking a cigar and he's looking all kind of wild. And I'm like, that was me that day,
too.
walking into this like the Senate Judiciary hearing or whatever the hell it was, trying to testify and stuff like that. And I was just nobody said anything.
Mhm.
But I was the only person in the room who was dressed like this in the hearing.
You're
And
like the Lady Gaga of Jefferson City. Because she always wears something really extreme and unique.
yeah. Oh my god. I mean, I prefer to live life a little weird. You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
it's just life's too short to be boring.
Right. And to fit in too.
Yes, exactly.
Why just be a copy of somebody else?
Exactly. I've always preferred to live the life of to tread the path less traveled. Right. I remember I will never forget when I was a kid, we had pajama day in school.
Yeah.
And my dad my dad was like, okay, so what are you gonna wear? And so I decided to wear the red pajamas with the feet in them.
Aw.
And we're talking about middle school.
I love feety
But
pajamas.
here's the thing. In 19 whatever it was, 90 or like 1989,
Yeah.
whatever it was, I was in 6th or 7th grade. Like middle school is notorious for bullying, okay?
Right.
So most of the time guys didn't wear pajamas on pajama day. Mostly it was girls doing it and they would have like their stuffed animals and stuff. And if you were to wear pajamas, like you would wear like normal pajamas as a guy, you wouldn't do what I did, which is wear like children's, like I barely fit into them, children's red fuzzy pajamas with the feet in them.
That's so cute.
Yeah, so I walked around the school that day with those because I thought it was funny, and there was actually my bully was there that day. I remember Andy Chapman.
Andy, if you're out there
Andy,
listening right now,
he ended up being like a super genius in the military, like was in intelligence and stuff like that. So
he's probably spying on us right now.
maybe Andy, if you're out there, don't kill us. But also fuck the feds. So, anyways, Andy, I'll never forget Andy. I was in math class, and Andy was sitting in front of me, and usually he would like say something cruel or hateful. So I was waiting for him to like
Yeah.
torment me for whatever reason, and for the the feety pajamas that I'm wearing, and I'll never to this day I'll remember the look on his face. I remember the blackboard. I remember the teacher. I remember like it's burned into my memory.
Yeah.
He turns around and he looks at me and he looks down at my feety pajamas and then he looks back up at me. He goes, "You got guts, Peterson."
Aw.
And I was just like,
That's cool.
"Yeah, oh yeah, it was awesome." I was like, "Damn, all right, yeah."
Yeah.
That's
That's
true.
people get popular in school is
Yeah.
they wear really weird stuff.
Yes.
And they're very bold.
Yes. Yeah. So, born to troll, AP says Elizabeth Press. Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
AP walks in, "Hola, bitches." Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Memo.
Honestly, all those other people would be too embarrassed to do the things that you do.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
They
it's
don't
true.
have enough confidence.
Yeah, that's what it is, you know.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. People don't give a about you, okay? Nobody really cares. They claim they do, and maybe some people will talk about you behind your back, but a lot of times, like, unless you're just actually ridiculous or whatever, like they want to be you. Like, for example, the guy who's sitting on your lap right now, Paul Rubens, probably got tormented as a kid.
Oh, I can imagine. Look,
Like-
if he wore this to school,
Well, or acted like that and all that kind of stuff. Like he probably got teased a lot growing
the
up
class clown.
because he was silly and he was ridiculous. But here's the thing:
Yeah.
he had the last laugh.
That's
Right? He
right.
became a big movie star and he was hilarious. People don't want to watch people that aren't weird.
No.
Right? That's the thing. Who was I talking to? Was it you about this? Where I was talking about like the type of people who become performers or entertainers? Was it you and I talking about this?
No, but I do feel that you have to be very different in order to stand out.
Exactly.
Look at the reality show stars.
Right.
I mean,
Like
they're very out there.
like I'm probably like the weirdest normie there is to a
Yeah.
large extent because like for example, the reason you fell in love with me
Mhm.
largely is because you didn't know my dark side or anything like that.
Oh, I thought you were this like really kind, gentle man who's very pure, innocent.
Yes, and then you got to know me,
Yeah.
and then you learned that there were multiple sides. Would you
You're
say
real
that
mysterious.
I wouldn't say that I have multiple personality disorder necessarily, but
Not.
no, but I mean there are many sides to AP, you would say.
Yeah, I would say definitely. The person I fell in love with was politician AP, who's very polished,
Right.
very professional and formal and politically correct.
Which is a part of me, right? A part of that's one side of me, but there's also a different part of me, right? There's a dark side.
Yeah, the part that's more crude and I guess risque.
And aggressive
Yeah.
and maybe even a little bit mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the side that you don't really see when somebody's running for office.
Right, which yours
Because you have to put on your best face.
for sure. Hikaru K says you also have have to have charisma to pull it off.
Oh, he has charisma. You have charisma.
If
yeah.
people if you don't, then people react violently towards you. Everyone always gives me "I'm gonna beat your ass" look. Yeah, it's true. There is an aspect of charisma. Elizabeth Press says that we like the dark side. Yeah, some people do. Like there are people who don't like my public persona that if they knew me personally probably would like me a lot more because I'm more.
You might think you're too much of a goody two shoes when you're running for office.
Yeah, maybe.
Whereas if they really got to know you, they'd be like, "Oh, he's a normal guy. He likes to party. He likes to have fun."
Right.
Yeah.
Because like, and like in my private life, I'm much more acerbic, right?
What does
So
that mean?
acerbic means like sharp and forthright, or like sour or bitter,
Ah,
right?
okay.
So
Yeah.
like I can be biting in
Ooh,
terms of my
yes.
criticism and things like that, right?
Yes.
So like,
Yes.
and sometimes a bit cruel, right?
Right.
Things
Yeah.
like that. But
Whereas me, I'm like, I don't have a cruel bone in my
you do
body. I
not.
feel bad for everything.
You don't. But you also, like,
Yeah.
as a woman, and we've talked about this before,
Yeah.
you don't have to have that side of you,
Right.
right? Like you don't need that, right? But like part of my I will say cruelty, but I really just say like, aggressiveness, or what I call it, I would call it that, um, is a survival mechanism.
Mm. Oh, yeah. Any habits that we as people have were developed long ago because they helped
Mhm.
us cope with something and they
Mhm.
helped us live and get by. So whatever
Exactly.
qualities you have helped you live until this day.
From the very first audition
Yeah.
that I did in New York City to today, all of the negative experiences that I've had have sharpened me and whittled me to the point of realizing that in order for me to survive, you have to have
Yeah.
an aggressive side, especially as a man. Like, I
Yeah.
remember my first, audition that I got rejected when I went to New York. I auditioned for Cabaret. They were perfectly nice and polite about it, but it was on a clear rejection.
Right. That
And
sucks.
well, it does, and then I talked about it, I think with Camellia yesterday, about having to take off my shirt for an audition and being laughed at for not being in perfect shape at the time, as a young man, and also being fat shamed and
Would
things.
give you body image
Well,
issues,
sure,
being laughed at,
but
just
you
like
have
that woman
to.
at Costco.
When you're in
Yeah.
the entertainment business, you better look like Hugh Jackman. You have to be ripped. There's no excuse, right? Like I wouldn't go and try and get back in the entertainment business looking like I'm looking right now, or audition for movies or TV shows looking the way that I look right now, because
I always say to you, you'd be so great acting in a play. I
no.
could see you doing it.
No, because like
Yeah.
it's first of all, you wouldn't get cast, and second of all, like you should be embarrassed and ashamed of yourself for for me now letting my weight go to where I've gotten right now. It's like it's wrong, and it's not what people in audiences want. I'm thankful that there's 40, 50 people watching the podcast right now as it is, because of how I look, right? So that's a sad reality, but one you have to accept, right? But you can't let those things like necessarily make you bitter, right? You should have to take those things and turn them into make you into a stronger person, right?
Yes.
So like,
Channel that energy into productive ways.
I don't really think of it as a dark side, even though I think most people would believe that that's what it is,
Right.
because I really just see it as strength. Because what was your dream last night, Stephanie?
Oh my God, it
Tell
was
your
so
dream.
cool. Okay, so there were these invaders in our home, in our bedroom, and they were trying to attack us with staple guns.
Mhm.
And so then I was like, oh no, like, should I take their staple gun and should I like start stapling them? But no, Austin comes out. Somehow he has this AK-47, and I just see him like putting it into the bad person's abdomen and shooting. And I was like, whoa. And so Austin protected the household with an AK-47 in my dream when I was ready to use the staple gun to protect us.
And you were like super like just turned on by seeing your man get all like crazy hostile, like starting machine gunning all these people who were trying to take us
I
on.
was like, wow, we are safe. Because, you and I talk through scenarios all the time. If somebody comes in the house, what's step one? What's step two? What do we do? And I'm a very light sleeper. So it's like if anything happens, I'm like up and ready to attack basically in my head.
Yes.
And then I freak you out
Yeah.
because I'm like, what's that?
Yep.
Fight or flight.
Mm-hmm.
So my dream just confirmed that I have faith in you making me secure.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, there's something I think women instinctively appreciate about a man that they feel can protect them.
Yes.
And one of the, that for me, one of the more core aspects of my character is my strength in self-defense.
Oh yeah.
Right.
You're a tough cookie.
Exactly.
But I'm doing kumite with you.
Right. But I mean, I feel like my libertarian principles are balanced out in such a way
Yeah.
as to be right, because I'm not an aggressive person in the sense that, I don't go out and start fights.
No.
Right. I don't go out and like, try and get, I haven't had a lot of fights other than, my kumite in class.
Right. Online fights, but who can fight you online?
That's exactly right. And people who say things to me online would not say things to me to my face, right?
It's not reality.
Or they would regret it. But having a self-defense aspect of a life, I think is an important part of being a man. When people talk about what it means to be a man, right? There's always like, you're not a real man if this, you're not a real man if that. If I were to assign a label to that, if I were to add to the pile of things, which I generally tend to, you know, grouse at, because I think most of the time it's like arbitrary. You're not a real man if you don't pay on the first date, blah blah blah.
Right.
That's horseshit, right? But I do think that real men can defend themselves, will defend themselves, and will defend those that they love.
Yeah.
And sometimes, not always, sometimes will act as good Samaritans to defend people even outside, innocent people outside of their circle.
Right.
I don't think that that's a requirement to be a real man, because the social dynamics of the United States today is that if you defend yourself, you are the aggressor in the eyes of the law,
Right.
especially in California.
Yeah.
So I don't see that as a moral imperative, like I would if it were legal to defend yourself or to defend others.
Yeah.
Right? I think you have a moral imperative as a man to defend yourself and to defend your loved ones, right, and in your immediate surroundings.
Yeah.
I do not. I know that this will inflame the hackles of like the 10 anarchists or whoever that might, you know, listen to this or what have you, but I do not see pacifism as a moral good.
Right.
I do not. I think
I mean, the
pacifism,
intentions are good, but really what it leads to is not.
it's suicidal. If you refuse to defend yourself, right, or to defend others, the ones that you love,
Right.
you're not a moral person. You're a coward,
Yeah.
right? To claim that it's one thing to not defend yourself, but to not defend those you love,
Right.
to not defend those who are around you. Do you not have anyone in your life that is worthy of defense? Like I would die for you, Stephanie. I would fight and die for you. I would give my life to save you, to save your life.
I say to myself, like, do I deserve that? Do I deserve someone to die for me?
Yes, and I took and that is part of my pledge when I married you, right? I would die for you. And that is part of my role of being a man.
Should a woman die for her husband?
No.
They
No.
should.
No. 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 That's why you clean
Doesn't make sense.
you clean the
That's not fair.
carpets, you prepare the dinner.
Yeah.
And part of the price that's on that the sword that hangs over my head, Stephanie, as the price of that, of you fulfilling your womanly duties,
Yeah.
is that I will die for you. Okay? So if I put
That's huge.
so if I yeah, exactly. That's why sometimes I put my feet up on the recliner and I play a little Xbox while you're preparing dinner, right? And doing that kind of stuff, because at the end of the day, if the wolf comes to the door, you know, like it's my throat they'll be mauling. If the robber comes, it's my life that will be forfeit. And that is to me what it means to be a man.
Right. It's the biggest responsibility of all time.
Exactly.
We were watching a video not too long ago where this couple, they were walking on the street and somebody was robbing them, and the man ran away and the woman was left there with the robbers, and so people were giving their comments on it. And I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't expect anybody to stay there to protect me, honestly. I don't
Wait,
I don't
what?
think that's their responsibility to
Stop.
protect me, but you know, it's still the fact that he ran away. I'm not sure how that would affect their relationship in the long term.
Dude, she's gonna have the driest vagina for the rest of her life from him and all that stuff, because there's something on a visceral level. I think that women want a man who will protect them, and I know I've seen this actually in two videos where a man and a woman who are ostensibly together are walking down the street, and the man, when they come to rob them, they steal her purse, and the man runs. The man runs away.
Right. And I don't know if it's just natural, like a fight or flight tendency, where their tendency is just to escape when they're scared.
Yes.
So maybe they have to train that a little bit better, like we do in karate. Because I have a fight or flight where I like to flee too. I like to run away.
So my message to you, and I've said this to you before, is this: I'm teaching you karate.
Yeah.
I'm teaching you how to use guns. I'm teaching you how to defend yourself. And the reason why I do that is because there may be a time when I'm not there with you.
Yeah.
So that you may have to defend yourself or our future children or all that kind of stuff. You want to be able to have some tools in your toolkit.
Yes.
Okay. If we are attacked or assaulted, and we are together, I want you to run away.
Right. You're asking me to run away.
I want you to run away because I want you to go get help.
Right.
Okay, and I obviously don't want you to get assaulted, right? So
Right.
you go while I stay and I'll fight, right? So
Yeah.
that to give you time to
That's what
get away.
happened when those dogs were attacking us in the neighborhood,
No,
and you told me to run with the dogs.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've already had this situation.
Yeah.
But if you can't run,
Yeah.
it would be nice if you could use the tools I've given you to
Yeah.
help me, right? Because if I've got two guys attacking me at the same time
Yeah.
and you can't get away, right? Use the mawashigeri, right? Use your chudan shutoke, right? Use the tools that I've given you to help me to fight back, right, for my own survival. If you can't run away.
I just feel like I'd really regret that if I left you and you got killed.
No,
I would always say, what could I have done to help you?
probably not much, right?
Yeah.
Right? But at the end of the day, like, probably if by the time something like that happens, we'll have like two kids or whatever in that kind of situation or scenario. Don't feel bad because you survived to take care of the children, right? To go on. So that's just what it is, right? That's what I think it should be.
These hard life decisions, they're
Mhm.
just so tough.
But I'm glad we work them out. I'm glad we've worked this out. And also glad, think about this. You spent the last 2 years training martial arts.
Yeah.
So like most people, and especially when we first met, like most people are like women are like you. They
Yeah.
are defenseless.
Right.
Like you're like one of your greatest sort of accomplishments in the last 2 years has been getting over your fear of being struck, right? And instead of turning away and screaming,
Yeah.
right, is to take that and to give it back, right? To learn to go from defensive, right? So just blocks into knowing that you can't just keep blocking forever. You're going to have to strike, right? And
Part of it is because I didn't grow up with any boys in my house.
Mhm.
Nobody wrestled with me.
That's part of it. Yeah.
So I wonder if I had brothers, if I would be more prepared to do that.
Probably. Yeah. You'd probably be a little bit more familiar with physicality, right? That's why it's always good to have like a man, or a boy, in the household who, even if as long as he's not too violent, right? To have like some kind of, conflict. My brother, who was bigger than me, we used to wrestle and he would like pin me and, we would get physical sometimes. And so even my dad sometimes and I would get physical. And those things, that you learn, everybody thinks they can fight
Yeah.
until they get into a fight.
Right. Oh yeah. We've watched all of those amateur fighter people who go up against a karate black belt.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, I can do this. I can street fight, and their punches have such horrible form.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And isn't that but here's the cool thing. Now that you like know like some of the basics of fighting,
Yeah.
you can see that now, right?
Yes.
One of the most fun stories was when you told me, because this happened to me like, 13 years ago, was when you told me, you go, I could take that person.
Usually it's somebody who's very large and unsteady on their feet, or somebody who's very small. Usually those are the people I think I can take.
Sure. But even then, like, you wouldn't have been able to do that before possibly because you didn't know body types and you didn't know your own body.
Yeah.
Like the one thing that you learn in martial arts is your own body. You learn yourself, right? You understand like, your own strength and your own limitations.
Yeah.
Like
controlled movements.
Yeah, like you fight this girl in our karate class named Maya, who's gigantic and she's big and she's strong.
Yes.
So the thing is that you couldn't do what I could do. Like I could just overpower her with my strength,
Right.
I could I could knock her out, and she comes at me like a bull. I could just use my strength.
I know.
You don't have that option.
No.
So what do?
I tire her out and I run around.
Exactly.
And she can't keep up with that.
Yeah, because she's too big.
Yes.
She's too big and you're smaller and you're faster. So you've learned, okay, I have to work with this body type and stuff like that. I didn't want this to become a discussion of self-defense, but I find it to be interesting. How many of you are into martial arts? Click that like button if so.
How many of you are just into learning about self-defense? I mean, it's a problem that we all will have to face at some point in our life to some extent.
For sure. Right. Yeah. If you haven't learned some basics of self-defense, it's a good idea to get out there and do it. Everybody will like criticize you. Oh, you have to do jujitsu. You have to do this. You have to do that. Find a martial art that you like, that you will go. Because if you don't go and you don't train, it's, you're no better off than anybody else. Andy Opperman this morning is saying, somebody finished off my pot of Jeffersonian Java and brewed a pot of the dross we drink around here. Shocking how bad my old normal coffee tastes here. Yes. So here's the thing. That is the downside of our coffee, the Jeffersonian Java and the my favorite Benjamin Franklin's Electric Elixir, is that once you taste our coffee, you are not going to want to go back to normal coffee. So I
Yes.
want to highly recommend that you visit apforlibertyshop.com and get a bag of our coffee today. If you've only tried one of the brands of coffee, try a different one. If you want to buy more than one bag, go to the bundles page and buy the bundle, because you save for every bag that you buy extra. It continues to add up until you get to 4 bags, and then you get the maximum discount at that
I see
point.
there's a maximum.
Right. You could buy 5 bags, but you'll still get 12% discount at that point, but it adds up. It's like 2, 5, 10, 12 for your discounts.
enough.
So yeah, for sure. So stock up. I just did I was running low, so I had to buy
Yeah,
some
you've
more.
been drinking it every single day. Every
Yeah.
night I always prepare his coffee and I say, "Which one do you want
And
tomorrow?"
it's always
And then he
Franklin
tells me.
Electric Elixir,
I
but
know, that's his
so
favorite.
my 2 favorite though are Jeffersonian Java
Yeah.
and Franklin's Electric Elixir. My number 1 is Electric Elixir, but I really love Jefferson's
And
Java.
first it was the Adam's Patriotic Perk, but now
Yes.
it's like changed.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
I like Adam's Patriotic Perk,
Yeah.
but they're all good.
Right.
But my favorite is the Franklin's Electric Elixir,
Yeah.
and then number 2 for me is Jeffersonian Java.
Yeah.
So if you've gotten some of our coffee and you haven't tried those, go to apforlibertyshop.com, try those, try them all. Get yourself a gift bag. And if you're like Andy Opperman and you have run out of coffee already, here's a way to solve that problem. Sign up for a subscription, right? Just have it
Yes.
delivered. We have a once a month delivery,
Yeah.
2 months delivery, and 3 months delivery. If you're drinking it every 2 weeks and you need me to set up that kind of subscription model for you, let me know. I will do that too. But hopefully do that.
People with very large families.
Yeah, for sure. Use your speed and staple gun, Stephanie, says John Knox. Very funny.
No, I feel like a staple gun would definitely deter people.
Yeah, no, I don't think so, honestly. Joni Rankin says, goes without saying, Austin, as the physically stronger species, it is expected. All 3 of my boys were raised to learn self-defense. One now does the MMA stuff. I want him as my bodyguard. Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I really think we'll start any children that we have in karate very young, start them in a kid class.
Mm-hmm.
Just make it second nature to them.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
they
I'll
can
teach
stand
them.
up to
So
people.
we'll start by I'll be the teacher and stuff. You can also, after a while, by the time we have kids, Stephanie, you're gonna be a black belt. Isn't that funny to think?
Yeah.
You'll be a black belt. Like
Yeah, you claim I'm very close to being a black belt.
you're already to the point of brown belt level. So we actually are 2 tests behind, and we need to, I know you're nervous about it, but
I hate tests.
yeah,
I
we've got to test you to get to your brown belt. So we're going to do your brown belt. We have to do 1 belt in between that. And you've got to do all your katas to this point, and then we start your new kata, Heian Godan, which you've already been training, and you've already started learning my black belt kata, Teki Shodan.
I have.
So you're already like on a head start for that, but we need to start working on Basai Dai, right? Exactly.
And then, boop, or no?
Yeah, for sure. John Rail says he's about to run out of his Jeffersonian Java and the Adams Patriotic Perk. Gonna order some more. Get her done, John Rail. Head over there
Get her
today.
done.
Yeah, if you order more than 1 bag, use the bundles page, so you will save money over there at apforlibertyshop.com. Let's see if our advertising effective. We don't really have a big audience today because it's Friday typically is a little bit smaller, but we're also still trying to build back up after we were gone for a few days.
People forgot about us.
Yeah, Will Run Riot says my Muay Thai trainer used to beat us while we were doing sit-ups. Gets you over getting hit real quick. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The biggest part of self-defense is getting hit.
I know.
Getting over that is getting over getting hit.
It's fighting that fight or flight tendency for me, because I'm always in my head, and so it's helping me to be more mindful and able to concentrate in crisis.
Yep, for sure. Let's see. Today, okay, we've got 2 live visitors at apforlibertyshop.com right now, so hopefully they'll be buying themselves some delicious coffee before we have to head out here today. What other stories do we have? We got 10 more minutes to go in the show, Stephanie. We're running out of time.
We have a few other stories.
Do we want to talk about the pit bull story? Do we want to talk about the
yeah, there was a pit bull that was bunted.
The pit bull who was bunted?
Yes.
Okay, let me see.
By
Hold
the
on.
bison.
Let's see. Pitbull launched by bison. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can pull this story up for our listeners. All right, bison launches off-leash pit bull at Yellowstone National Park. Okay, yes, here it is. Hold on, let me get the video. This is for those pit bull haters out there. This is gonna really scratch. Hold on. Pull it up. Drop it in this chat. There we go.
Yeah, it'll give those
Twitter
Pitbull haters a
weirdness.
lot of satisfaction.
Yeah, hold on for sure. So here it is. Pitbull goes after buffalo in Yellowstone National Park and gets owned. Here we go. Watch this. I love that you can hear the wife screaming in the foreground.
Back up! Back! Jesus Christ, Richard!
Is Richard the dog?
No, Richard's the husband who let the dog off of the leash.
That would be me.
Yeah.
Okay, see, I'm pro leash.
Yes.
And Austin, on our property at least, he is not pro leash.
Yes.
And we have a lot of close calls where I'm freaking out and screaming when there's like
Jesus Christ, Austin! That would be you. Yes.
Seriously, when there's like a Great Pyrenees approaching our yard and we've got Kelvin and George leashed, so they're starting to run.
Yeah, it does get scary. But here, watch this. Hold on. Check it out. Pitbull goes after the bison.
Back up! Back! Jesus Christ, Richard!
Oh, dude, that Pitbull didn't know what hit it, man. It was like, justice for all the toddlers that the Pitbulls have been eating in the last several years. So.
I know.
Yeah,
they need like protector bison at Pitbull.
There it is. You know what? That's what we need to do. Help build the bison population back up. You know what? We need it in Westview because I'm sick and tired of these motherfucking pit bulls and this motherfucking town.
Import bison and put them on our property.
I would prefer, but you know what? That's a good idea to keep all the little children from coming on our property.
The HOA rules would allow that. They don't allow chickens, but they say nothing about bison.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
All right. Dogs are stupid, says Grant. Yeah, they are. Because, honestly, Calvin would do that.
He would.
He would try and attack the bison.
And George would, in a friendly manner, try to go up to the bison and say hello.
Yes.
He actually scared 2 people walking down our street the other day. These poor people.
For some reason, the black people in our neighborhood are terrified of our dogs.
Yeah.
Didn't we have remember when the black kids came onto our property and Calvin ran out of the house?
And the children were screaming bloody murder as they were running down the street, and Calvin just kept running after them, just trying to play.
Well, it's hilarious because we do get kids who love our dogs and want to play with them, but it's always the white kids who are like, Frenchie, or they're always a pug or whatever. But the black kids and black people that are in that neighborhood near us, they are scared of our dogs.
They are.
But they'll have a 500-pound pit bull.
That's why they're scared. They've probably been attacked by their dog.
No, well, I don't think so. It doesn't make any sense, right? And it's our Frenchies were running at them full speed, and Calvin admittedly is a little bit bigger, but this was
looks like a pit bull.
But here's the thing: it was George who was running at the kid and his dad, and they were like,
they literally had their hands up as if they were
as if the dog was going to attack them. And I'm like, you guys realize these are French bulldogs here? They're not going to attack.
Hey, Chihuahuas bite, right? So
well, Chihuahuas are stupid. Right? Frenchies are not Chihuahuas anyways. So, but I guess in order for us to defend ourselves against the evil pit bulls of our neighborhood, and I guess if you're worried about black people,
I bet that could happen to Kelvin one day because we have deer on our property, and Kelvin goes running towards the deer. I'm sure if there was a deer with horns.
Yes.
What are they? Antlers, not
antlers. Horns. Well, I think antlers are horns actually.
Horns.
Yes, antlers are horns.
I could see the deer doing the same thing.
Yeah, no, for sure. They would mess him up. But Calvin doesn't care. He wants to murder absolutely everybody. Let's see. Levin 214 over on Rumble this morning says, reminds me of the time when the rooster my dad had the smart idea to go after a newborn calf. Mama cow didn't like that very much. Yes. Will Run Riot says that what the bison did to the pit bull, he says that was a love tap. LOL.
Yes. Yeah, they were just playing.
Yes. Seriously, they should just not allow people out of their vehicles in Yellowstone. I know I am getting sick and tired of people messing with the animals in Yellowstone. Like at some point, somebody's going to try and pet a wolf. Some like dumb liberal woman is going to like be like, "Oh, I'm like one with the crystals, and like the wolf will not attack me."
Don't they identify as wolfkin?
Yes, yeah. Some furry
Yeah.
is going to go up to a wolf in Yellowstone, is going to get their penis chewed off or whatever, and it's going to be the most based thing ever.
It's like the bear guy, the grizzly bear man.
Oh yeah. Oh wait. Remember that
He-
video that we watched was like 2 days ago of the guy who put his hand in the tiger cage?
Oh,
Dude, that was crazy. That happened in Naples, Florida. Do you want to tell this story?
So a Florida man, there was a 911 call.
He
and
worked at the zoo as a janitor. He worked at the zoo as a janitor, yes.
I thought he was just like a random person on a bicycle.
Yes.
Pop-Tart in his basket of his bicycle. Anyways, so apparently he called 911. He's like asking for help. And then the police get there and he literally has his arm being chewed off by this beautiful tiger.
Yeah.
He's outside of the cage,
Right.
but so the rest of his body is like his legs are like up in the air.
Yes.
And so anyways, they were going to shoot the tiger with a tranquilizer gun, but that would take about 15 minutes to be loaded.
Yeah,
or
loaded
to-
and set. Yeah.
Okay. So that was too time consuming. And so then
The cop is just standing there like he's like, please shoot it. And he's like, it's like the tiger is like chomping on his arm and all that stuff. And he's like, and the cop is like, he's like, well, could I tase it? Blah, blah, blah.
They
They're
were
like,
trying to push on the cage.
they're trying to like scare it by slamming on the cage to get it to go away, to let go and stuff like that. And it wouldn't let go. And it's like that. Like, and listen, I understand the guy's a moron. He tried to pet a tiger. It was a stupid thing to do. But here's the thing. He absolutely learned his lesson. Shoot the stupid effing tiger. Shoot the tiger.
So sad.
I feel bad for the tiger too, okay? But he's not a tiger. He's a human. All right. We pay cops taxes we get raped every year in our taxes to pay for these police officers, so that if we do something stupid, for God's sake, that perhaps somebody might have to shoot a tiger, okay? Yeah, and here's the thing. He's learned his lesson. Okay, he got his hand chewed off and all that stuff. Apparently later they said that they reattached it successfully.
Yeah, the reason why they were so upset about this tiger being killed is because it's an endangered species and there's like only 200 of these left.
Yeah, it was a Malayan tiger or something like that. Yeah, you can look it up.
Zookeeper people, they were crying.
There's
the man
video
was
of
crying
it.
when he was giving a speech.
Yeah. There's video of it too. You can find on YouTube, and it shows the tiger with a guy's like arm and he just gets scary stuff. But I mean, yeah, shoot the tiger, for God's sakes.
I would have tried to like throw things at it. I would have tried anything.
I know. You're like, shoot the
before
Florida
killing.
man. You know what I mean?
Oh, I would have tranquilized the Florida man. Maybe we should have done that.
He needed some painkillers, that's for sure. Yeah.
Do you really want to continue the genetics of that Florida man?
No.
I don't.
I don't either, but for God's sakes, like, shoot the tiger. All right, we gotta run, Stephanie. Is there anything else that we need to share with our listeners today before we let you go? Anything big? Any big news?
Oh boy, we're gonna see Oppenheimer this weekend.
Yeah, we're gonna go see Oppenheimer.
So
Either
review
maybe
to
tonight
come.
or tomorrow. Yeah, so we'll review Oppenheimer next week. I know people have been waiting to hear our thoughts on that one. So
Yes.
Don't forget to visit apforlibertyshop.com. Get yourself some delicious Founding Flavors coffee. I'm telling you, once you go black, roast, you'll never go back. Founding Flavors coffee at apforlibertyshop.com. Get yourself some other awesome items there as well. Stephanie, we love you on Family Friday. It's always fun.
Guys,
Yeah, what did
be
we?
free,
We
everybody.
all learned that Stephanie's got a killer body, but she is not going to show it off for anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need to. You all know it. I know it.
I guess we'll find out on the red carpet premiere next year for the movie.
Exactly.
All right, guys, have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you on Monday in the Wake Up America show at wakeupamericashow.com.